1 minute you're living your best life in the lounge in Hong Kong, ready to board one of the world's best airlines, and then news breaks.
These missiles were intercepted over the Qatari capital of Doha. They say there are no injuries on the ground.
And in the meantime, your flight is cancelled and suddenly you're hit with a wave of uncertainty and anxiety like you've never known before. I wasn't sure what to expect, but what came next was a welcome surprise. My first time flying Japan Airlines Business Class on board the Boeing 787-9. From the moment I stepped on board, I knew this was going to be something very special. This might just be the best replacement flight I've had after cancellation. I do follow current events, but after stepping off a Cathay Pacific flight from Seoul, I was intending to watch planes, have a very refreshing shower in the Cathay Pacific First Lounge, and then find something tasty to eat, before taking a nap, and all was well. Until I woke up, and about 8 PM, checking the app saw those fear-mongering words, cancelled. Naturally, with 3 hours until anyone staffs the check-in desks for Qatar and an impossible task to speak to anyone on the phone, I was at the mercy of Cathay Pacific, who were fantastic and eventually managed to get someone to come collect me and check in for my alternative flight. But I'm flying with Cathay over to Narita and then flying JAL on the 787, so the review is going to be, well, different. And that's because this was meant to be a review about an ex-Cathay Pacific Boeing 777-300, which is being borrowed by Qatar due to their shortage of fleet. Quite honestly, I was eager to try Japan Airlines anyway, having heard only good things, but never having quite enough cash in my wallet to fly them myself. With the first part of the review taking 4 hours from Hong Kong to Narita, Tokyo, covering a modest distance of 1,789 miles. So it's goodbye Hong Kong, hello Tokyo. In some ways, Narita's probably the poor cousin of Haneda. The lounge isn't open, the transfer desk isn't open, but I did find this really comfortable little alcove here. You could probably have a quite nice nap in here. So while I wait for the lounge to open, let's have a look at the journey map. Departing at 10:40, Juliet Lima 407 will cover a distance of 5,799 miles, taking over 14 hours, which sadly is 1 hour too late for my connecting flight back to Birmingham. I did try and request the UK, but the agent in Hong Kong was limited, and Qatar, despite being asked, didn't want to help. All things being considered though, I'm just pleased to have a flight back towards Europe, and my needs are far outweighed by the very sad conflicts in the Middle East. Not long after, and I'm moving away from that comfy chair. I'm slowly making my way towards the Cathay Pacific Lounge, which opens at 7:15. Personally, I'm extremely loyal and loving towards Cathay Pacific and the airline, but the lounge at Narita is more than pleasant, but it's not really a true reflection of the experience. Go to Taipei, Shanghai, London or Hong Kong, just to name a few, and you'll probably consider just for a split second missing your flight to spend longer in the lounge. I do appreciate that these new business-like tickets that don't include lounge access are becoming a bit industry-wide. So you could agree that I'm probably being a little bit of a snob here. It's like picking a sandwich from the supermarket for lunch. A ham and cheese sandwich is fine, but that one with Madagascan cheese with grilled chicken braised on the mountaintop collected by monks in a baguette is just a nicer experience. My point is, there are better places to be, and Tokyo is home to ANA and Japan Airlines, so I'm expecting good things. Now I sadly, in a very spectacularly bad way, ran out of time to visit the business class lounge, as you'll see with the drama in a bit, so it's off to visit Japan Airlines first class Sakura Lounge that will hopefully blow your mind. So that's actually not a bad lounge. There's lots of variety there, lots of comfortable areas, and some really good views out over the plains. JAL's lounge might not be to everyone's taste. It's low lit, dark, and there is a lot of white and black leather armchairs. But I like it, and the best part has to be the extremely welcoming barman who happens to be from Scotland. If you heard it, I did as well, and I felt the accent coming in there. Apologies if anyone was offended. Anyway, downstairs is more about drinking sake, and upstairs is more about eating. The second level is quite a different experience, partly because it has windows, which create a more airy, lighter experience. And just inside to the left and the right are lots of comfortable seating areas for those who probably need a rest after a very early start. Venture further down the corridor and you come across the tea-coffee area, which hides a small buffet of beautiful Japanese treats. They're so beautifully presented, I genuinely felt bad and guilty taking one of the plates. Apologies, I can't remember what they were, but both were really beautiful in very different ways. I have to say, when I looked online at the lounge, I wasn't overly impressed. But if you've ever ordered clothes online that look amazing, only to be disappointing in reality when they turn up, this lounge is the opposite. It feels slightly understated, but somehow so elegant and Japanese at the same time, and a little bit exclusive. What made the occasion even more special was the chef in extremely clean white overalls, who was delicately preparing and from scratch beautiful Japanese dishes. And after asking if it was okay to record him preparing one, there was a very little lost in translation moment. Rescued by a supervisor, which followed by the three of us enjoying a moment of laughing and amusement. But what was prepared just looked so tantalising.
So I've not been to a JAL lounge before, and this is my first time flying them. And I can describe the experience as being very calm, extremely polite and fun.
And if you thought I was done eating, well, you're wrong. I should have held out for the flight, but various sweet treats on the QR menu had attracted me, and while simple, they somehow felt a little bit special in a very luxurious way. Bearing in mind the last hotel stay was some 24 hours ago, and the only sleep I managed to catch was an hour in the lounge in Hong Kong and a few hours on board Cathay Pacific, over to Narita. So I was in need of refreshing up, and with 1 hour until boarding starts, that should be plenty of time. So I'm heading back to the ground floor for hopefully what is an available shower. With the early anxiety from the cancellation and rebooking well behind me, the stress was about to resurface. Because while I was feeling fresh, I was distracted by discovering a shoehorn. Not that I needed this because I'm wearing trainers, there was a knock on the door. I totally blame the exhaustion, but once again I'd failed to change my time on my phone from Hong Kong to Japan. And the flight was already boarding with 15 minutes until the boarding closed. No doubt this would result in a bit of running and defeating the point of a shower. Feeling rather guilty, I'd also missed the opportunity to film the cabin, but I felt compelled to apologise to every member of staff, knowing that in Japan, punctuality is an unwritten rule of society, and being late is frowned upon. Although having not delayed the flight, everyone was really nice about it. Ignoring the regional side of Japan Airlines, there are 3 different business class products, with today's being the most common on the Boeing 787 in a 222 layout, with the best seats by far being the window seats due to their privacy. Honestly, they could probably do with a bit more door or a wall or something, and at least all seats have step-free access over your neighbour. I am working really hard to find a reasonably priced way to fly their newer Airbus A350, but the good news is that subject to an equipment swap, I managed to book a flight with their 121 layout, so watch out for that in 2026.
So welcome aboard JAL's Sky Suite. It's 20.5 inches of width. Amazing, when it goes into flat mode, it becomes 25 inches. It's not very private in the middle, although you do get the divider, but really you want to go for the window seat. The product does look a tiny bit dated, but actually this is a really nice space, and because it's square, there is so much space.
If you're wondering, I took the footage of the cabin when we landed, so not to disturb other passengers. And you really can see why the window seats are so incredibly private, especially when you deploy the privacy screen in the middle. Unfortunately for 10 Delta, which was one of the only seats remaining, it's not so private, although the centre seats are slightly further back. It is a good product, and because it's rectangular and not angled, it means that the footwell is wide. But I wonder why the wall is so minimal in a country where people value privacy. Other things to note before we press on, there's a universal plug socket and older USB-A just below the in-flight entertainment, and the seat controls are just below the privacy window divider, which moves us on nicely to the amenities. Slippers are fairly common in business class. These look a little bit more premium than the usual throwaway ones. Fluffy is probably a good way to describe them, with a complimentary bottle of water and a choice of welcome drink, with orange juice sounding like a good way to rehydrate after I had to run for the flight. The pillow could be mistaken for Air France because of the subtle little red line, but it's a good size and it's fairly firm. With the mattress cover and duvet in a matching design sitting nicely on the ottoman opposite me. I really wish I'd recorded myself unpacking the amenity kit, because it's one that's going to make you smile. It's pretty with a panda hidden in the design, with unusual finds like a shoehorn, which is a nice little upgrade over the usual body lotions. Another nicety is the JAL branded phone holder, which could certainly come in handy. But what made me smile, even if I can't use it, is the older style iPhone charging cable, which you'd probably think in 2025 with the iPhone king in Japan would have USB-C if not compatible. Worth a very brief mention is the brochure or guide for the seat, which is very thorough if not unnecessary, and various magazines with destinations and things to do in Japan, and the best part being the fleet and destination map. I love a good takeoff. It's probably the best part about flying, but from the centre of a Boeing 787 it isn't ideal, especially when you're looking right across two people.
Oh, the takeoff? Let's just pretend it happened and it's on to the in-flight service.
I will just mention just how good the tray table is, folding away in a nice little curve so you can easily escape the meal service. A 5-star carrier, although more work for the crew, knows that each course should be served by itself, so we start things off with a refreshing towel. Diving into the menu and having watched another review online, I also sampled the food in the lounge, and my hopes and dreams are pretty high. I did try a glass of sake in the lounge as well, and found it not overly strong but delightful at the same time, so hopefully I can repeat that on board. I appreciate that the Japanese food, unlike Thai, is not for everyone, because even with a very limited knowledge, I don't always know what I'm eating, and this can be a welcome surprise or no sorry, that's not for me. There was a really extensive menu and drinks list, so I'll just let that run on the screen. Enjoy! For the appetizer, the mixed nuts come with a portion of what I believe was probably hummus, and some posh looking breadsticks in these nice porcelain bowls, which I washed down with a glass of sake I requested from the Fukushima region, which was so intense I thought I might go blind. I admit that's a bit dramatic, but at 16% it was a bit too intense for me. Deciding not to finish the sake in case I look a bit stupid, I replaced it with a peach and grape fizz. The starter arrives just in time because I'm pretty hungry, and it's so neatly presented with the rice entwined in a bamboo leaf, which was such a joy to unwrap. And how could there not be a miso soup in this cute little red pot, which tasted spot on. And then this comes with the grilled salmon, deep fried tofu and spinach with Ren's special curry, which had me wanting more and was so good I forgot I had a main course on the way. Just like another reviewer said, it's sometimes hard to cook rice, but I have to say it's some of the best I've ever had. Great texture, good appearance, and the smell was wonderful. It's just a shame I'm not the best with chopsticks. Just as a courtesy, I'll give you a moment because this next part took my breath away. The chopstick holder is a souvenir you are welcome to take home. With the chopsticks beautifully wrapped, and are you ready? Yes. This bento box, which you cannot keep, contains 5 different dishes, which is definitely an exploration in taste. I admit I enjoyed 70% of it, with some of the textures just not suited to my palate, but it was an experience. To finish, we have the peach agar jelly with coconut milk. Don't worry if you're not a fan of coconut, this was dreamy. Perhaps it could have been a little bit more adventurous, but I was left satisfied and ready for some entertainment.
So as expected, the food was really good. I looked at a few reviews online and I was just amazed by how precise and how colourful it looked, and it was really delicious. I'll start things off by looking at the in-flight entertainment,
which on the Sky Suite Collins Aerospace Apex seat features a generous 23-inch HD display, and there's lots of content to keep you busy. My only criticism is that the system is a little older, and it's not the smoothest or the most modern of interactions, something I really hope they've developed on the Airbus A350, but it's perfectly reasonable, but you will need the remote as it doesn't have a touchscreen capability. Besides this, it's so far away, so why even bother? Recommendations: if you like your LGBTQ plus genre, then Red, White and Raw Blue is a fairly amusing movie about the prince and the son of the president of the USA who fall in love and naturally, because of the monarchy, have to uphold certain standards. It's sort of a modern Romeo and Juliet, with the family taking sides. Also in the comedy category, Thelma is a charming and sharply written action comedy that turns a grandmother's quest for justice into a hilarious and heartfelt adventure. With June Squibb leading the charge, it's proof that age is no match for determination, or a motorised scooter. The headphones come pre-wrapped and sanitised because we all remember 2021. They have noise cancellation and the JAL logo, but they could be a little bit more premium, but they were perfectly good.
I'm going to put into the flat mode, see what it's like, just quickly got to the bathroom and then it's off for a sleep.
Which is pretty sensible considering I've had 4 hours of sleep in the last 24 hours, and whilst it's light outside, my body is pretty confused by the time zones. There are, just FYI, 2 bathrooms towards the front of the second section, with only one at the very front of the plane, so occasionally this resulted in a queue. The seat is pretty plush and I'm totally behind the width, which makes it feel spacious, especially as it's a rectangle thanks to not being angled towards the centre of the plane. Something airlines do to fit in more seats, and a reason why this product is not overly popular.
So the space is actually quite wide and it is really comfortable, so I'll see you in the morning. The last time I checked we had 11 hours to go, and I was quite surprised by that. I thought it's only been 4 hours, but I've just checked now and it's 5.5 hours to go.
And if you find yourself peckish, then there's a few snacks, white wine, and you can also order from the menu. It felt like tea o'clock, so I ordered a nice Earl Grey tea, and the cabin crew delivered not 1, not 2, but 3 chocolate biscuits to go with. She even apologised because naturally crew need to rest at some point as well, and this is typically when everybody else is sleeping, but a lot of passengers were now awake and had made various food orders. I felt wonderfully refreshed, which would certainly help with my rebooked flight from Frankfurt and a 4-hour connection. I settled it into Wakanda Forever, which is a powerful mix of action, emotion that honours Chadwick Boseman while pushing the Black Panther story forward. 3 hours before arrival, and I guess you could probably call it dinner, although if you're from Asia, it's technically breakfast. The cabin lights were set to an evening sky to help people wake up, and I was pretty excited again because I had seen ramen on the menu, but sadly this wasn't meant to be. With quite a few options now unavailable and a little bit of disappointment, the cabin crew suggested the curry house beef curry, which I have to admit was fine, but it was no ramen. Things did improve with dessert, knowing that I could probably find something to eat in the Lufthansa lounge. Elderflower and non-alcoholic white wine jelly with slices of kiwi fruit is packed full of flavour, even if this is again on the simple side. Fairly content, but perhaps a touch disappointed after just under 2 weeks in Asia, having flown Asiana, ANA and Qatar's Boeing 787-9, I was looking forward to keeping my feet on the ground, and not going anywhere besides the front door.
So I just want to start by saying that it's unfortunate that the reason why my flight was cancelled was because the troubles in the Middle East, but JAL, I've never been on them before and they are such a good airline. Everything from the lounge to the flight to the food was just amazing. Maybe it's not like the most modern seat, but at some point we'll get to try their other one, which is the 121 configuration. The cabin crew is just brilliant, genuinely so Japanese, so friendly, so polite, and nothing was a bother. I'm really looking forward to trying them again in the future. I'm going to do premium economy at some point. I really hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.